Welcome back to Code Hive, the place where we make it work, make it right, and make it fast. So on today's video, I want to talk about SQL aliases, right? So basically, a table or a column within a table can have a temporary name by using SQL aliases, right? They are frequently used to improve the readability of column names, and it can only exist while that query is running. And you use the keyword as to produce an alias, right? So there's two types. You have alias column syntax and you have alias table syntax, right? So the column one is used for columns. So let's say you want to display the username and a surname. So it's both coming from two tables, right? And you want it to display as one column. Then you use the column syntax. So it's select the column name as the alias name from the table name. And then the alias for the table syntax is you select your normal columns and then from the table, and then you give the table an alias so that when you start using the table somewhere in your queries, you can just refer to it as the alias name. So let's look at some examples. I want to first discuss the column alias. Okay, so let's see. We want to view, Okay, so select employee name as, right, which is the keyword for the alias. And I want to call the column company employees from which table? From the employees table, right? So if we run that statement and we execute, then you should be able to see all the employees, right? The employee names. But because we've created an alias and we wanted it to be under this heading, now the whole column is called company employees, right? So that's how the column alias works. So let's look at another example. So let's say you want the employee name, right? And let's twist things up a little. Let's say you want the employee name and you want the employee surname. Okay, but you want it to be under one heading, right? So as, and what do you want to call it? Employees, for example, right? From which table? From the employees table. Okay, so let's run that statement. So we can see that the title of the column is employees, as we said over there, and these are all the employees. Okay, employee name and the surname. So at work. So if we just say employees at work, for example, right? And we run that, employees at work. So that's how the column alias works, right? Okay. So now let us look at the table alias, right? So let's see. So you're going to have your normal select statement, right? So select. Okay, so now it's going to look a bit different, right? So select E dot employee ID, right? And E dot employee surname. So just never mind the E for now. You want the employee ID column and you want the employee surname column, right? Okay, cool. From which table? From the employees table. But now because we're using the table alias, I want this employees table to be called E. And that's how the table alias works. So this table, right? Employees table, I'm giving it an alias of E, right? So everything that will be coming from the employees table, we just put an E in front of it. Okay. So if we run that statement, there we have the employee ID and the employee surname from the employees table. So you could say as EMP, for example. Then that means you have to change it there to EMP and you have to change it there to EMP. Right? And if we run that, it will still give us the same thing. Right? So table alias, right? I'll just say it again. This is the alias, right? Where's the alias coming from? It's coming from there. So you are calling the employees table EMP. Okay, so let us look at another example. So let's say you want, okay, so select E dot employee surname, and then C dot card description, and then EC dot date made, right? From which table? From the employees table, which you can call it E, right? The cards table, which you can call it C, or the employee card table, which you can call it EC. So this is another shortcut for the table alias, right? You don't have to put the word as. You could, but it just cuts time, right? And then where E dot, right? So this is just an addition of the statement, but the whole point that I'm trying to make is the fact that the employee, oops, okay, so this, you don't need this part, right? Oops, and okay, all this are aliases, EC, C, E, right? They're all aliases. So now you're just going to replace all the columns with the alias. So the date made is coming from the EC table, which is the employee card table, and so forth and so forth. And if we run this statement, you should get all your information.